December 17th, 1944. Belgium. The Battle of the Bulge. Staff Sergeant Jose Mendoza Lopez stands alone in the snow with a heavy machine gun. Behind him, his company is retreating. They're outnumbered, outgunned, and on the verge of collapse. In front of him, an entire German infantry company, over 200 soldiers, advances through the forest. Lopez's orders: hold this position. Give the company time to pull back and regroup. His weapon: .130 caliber Browning machine gun. 11 magazines. His wits. What happens next will seem impossible. One man, one gun, 100 dead German soldiers. But Lopez isn't really fighting alone. He has a secret weapon his commanders never taught him. A trick he learned hunting in South Texas as a kid. If you can't stop them with firepower, stop them with fear. Make them think they're facing an army when they're really facing one man. The Germans advance. Lopez opens fire. Then he moves, fires again, moves again, creating the illusion of multiple machine gun nests. Over the next hour, Staff Sergeant Jose Lopez will single-handedly hold off an entire German company, kill over 100 enemy soldiers, and earn the Medal of Honor, all with one insane trick: being everywhere at once. Hitler's last gamble is working. Operation Watch on the Rhine, what history will call the Battle of the Bulge, catches the Allies completely by surprise. 25 German divisions smash through weak points in the American line. Panzer tanks race toward the Meuse River. If they cross it, they might reach Antwerp and split the Allied forces in half. The weather is brutal. Snow and fog ground Allied aircraft. No air support, no resupply drops. American troops are fighting blind in the worst winter Europe has seen in decades. Lopez's unit, the 23rd Infantry Regiment, 2nd Infantry Division, is in the path of the German onslaught. They're green troops mostly, replacements who arrived just weeks ago. They've never faced a coordinated German offensive like this. The Germans aren't just attacking, they're using psychological warfare. Soldiers in American uniforms speaking English create chaos behind the lines. Paratroopers drop to cut communications. Rumor spreads faster than facts. Lopez's company is defending a small Belgian town called Krinkelt. It's not strategic, but it's on the road the Germans need. If they take it, the route to the Meuse opens up, but the company is falling apart. Half their strength is gone. Ammunition is running low. The cold is killing as many men as German bullets. And now, reconnaissance reports an entire German infantry company moving through the forest toward their position. Over 200 soldiers. The lieutenant orders a fighting retreat. Most of the company pulls back, but someone has to hold the line long enough for them to escape. Lopez volunteers. Jose Mendoza Lopez grew up in Brownsville, Texas during the Depression. Mexican-American kid in a state that didn't always welcome him. He worked odd jobs, hunted to put food on the table, learned to make every bullet count. When Pearl Harbor happened, Lopez enlisted. Despite the discrimination Hispanic soldiers faced, despite knowing he'd have to work twice as hard to get half the recognition, he signed up. Now he's a staff sergeant, not because of privilege or connections, because he's good, because his men trust him, because when things go bad, Lopez is the one who stays calm. Looking at the situation now, calm is exactly what he needs. One machine gun, 11 magazines, maybe 1,000 rounds, against 200 German soldiers. The math doesn't work. Everyone knows it. This is a suicide mission. But Lopez has an idea. It's crazy. It might not work. But it's better than just sitting still and getting overrun. The Germans don't know he's alone. They can't see through the snow and trees. What if he makes them think they're facing multiple machine gun positions? Fire from one spot. Move. Fire from another spot. Keep moving. Create the illusion of a defensive line with interlocking fields of fire. It's a magician's trick. Misdirection. The hunter's principle. Don't be where they think you are. His buddies think he's insane. Even if the trick works, how long can one man keep that up? 10 minutes? 20? Lopez doesn't know, but his company needs an hour to pull back safely. So he's going to give them an hour. Or die trying. He sets up his gun, checks his ammunition, and waits for the Germans to come. Lopez scouts his terrain fast. He needs multiple firing positions, places where he can set up the gun, fire a burst, then relocate before German mortars zero in on the muzzle flash. He finds 3 good spots within 50 yards of each other, each with decent cover, each with overlapping fields of fire covering the approach route. The Browning M1919 weighs 31 pounds. Add the tripod, and it's 50 pounds of steel Lopez will have to move repeatedly. In snow, under fire, while the Germans shoot back. But he's trained for this. Muscle memory. Set up, fire, break down, move. He's done it 100 times in training, never under these conditions. Never while an entire enemy company tries to kill him. Lopez pre-positions ammunition at each location, splits his 11 magazines between the 3 spots. If he gets pinned down, he'll have rounds available wherever he is. He also studies the German approach. They'll come through that tree line, expecting to overwhelm whatever token resistance the Americans left behind. They won't expect serious opposition. They definitely won't expect one man with enough crazy in him to fight like 10. The key is timing. Fire long enough to convince them it's a real position, but not so long they can coordinate an attack on it. Then move before they flank him. It's a balancing act. Too little fire, the illusion fails. Too much fire, he dies. Lopez checks his watch. His company should be pulling back now. He just has to hold for 60 minutes. Through the snow, he hears the Germans coming. Voices, equipment rattling. They're not even trying to be quiet. They think this will be easy. Lopez settles behind his first firing position and waits. The Germans emerge from the tree line. 200 soldiers in winter camouflage. They move in standard infantry formation, expecting minimal resistance. Lopez lets them get close. 75 yards. 50 yards. Wait for it. He opens fire. The Browning roars. Tracers rip through the snow. Germans drop. The rest scatter, diving for cover. Lopez fires in controlled bursts. Not too long. Just enough to pin them down and make them think they're facing a fortified position. Then he grabs the gun, tripod and all, and runs to his second position. Takes him 30 seconds. He's breathing hard. Sets up. The Germans are still oriented on his first position, pouring rifle fire into the spot he just left. Lopez hits them from a different angle. More Germans fall. Now they're confused. 2 machine gun nests? How many Americans are defending this town? Their commander tries to organize a flanking maneuver, but before they can execute it, Lopez moves again. Third position. He fires from a new angle. The Germans return fire, but they're shooting at ghosts. Lopez is already gone, moving back to position 1. For the next hour, Lopez plays this deadly game. Fire, move, fire, move. He rotates between his 3 positions so fast the Germans can't track him. They think they're facing at least 3 separate machine gun teams. German casualties mount. 10 dead. 20. 30. Their advance stalls completely. No one wants to cross that open ground into what looks like a network of defensive positions. Lopez's magazines run empty. He reloads. His barrel is overheating. The tripod legs are sinking into the snow. His hands are numb from the cold, but he keeps firing because his company needs more time. The Germans try to flank. Lopez cuts them down. They try to advance. He pins them. They call for mortar support. That's when Lopez knows he's bought enough time. When Lopez finally pulls back, he's fired every round. All 11 magazines. Empty. The ground in front of his positions is covered with German dead and wounded. The official count, over 100 enemy soldiers killed or seriously wounded. By one man, with 1 machine gun. The German company that attacked with 200 soldiers retreats with less than 100 combat-effective troops remaining. Their advance is broken. Lopez's deception worked perfectly. German after-action reports describe facing heavy resistance from multiple fortified positions. They had no idea they were fighting 1 sergeant moving between 3 spots. More importantly, Lopez gave his company the time they needed. While he held the line, they pulled back to a better defensive position, reorganized, set up proper fields of fire. When the Germans finally got past Lopez's position, they ran into a prepared defense that stopped them cold. That 1-hour delay changed the entire dynamic of the battle in that sector. Instead of a rout, it became a fighting retreat. Instead of a breakthrough, the Germans hit a brick wall. The 2nd Infantry Division's stubborn defense, with Lopez's action as a critical piece, helped deny the Germans the roads they needed. The offensive lost momentum. By the time weather cleared and Allied air power returned, the Battle of the Bulge was already turning into a German defeat. Lopez survives the battle. Barely. He's wounded, frostbitten, and completely exhausted, but alive. When his commanders hear what he did, they don't believe it at first. 1 man killed over 100 Germans? Held off an entire company? Then they count the bodies. Check the German casualties. Interview the other soldiers who saw him move between positions. It's all true. Every impossible word of it. President Harry Truman awards Jose Mendoza Lopez the Medal of Honor on August 18, 1945, the highest military decoration the United States can bestow. The citation reads, "He stood up in full view of the advancing enemy and continued to direct a withering barrage until the enemy tanks had been forced to withdraw." But that dry official language doesn't capture what Lopez really did. He didn't just fire a gun. He waged psychological warfare. He turned his physical disadvantage into a tactical advantage. He made 200 German soldiers think they were facing an army. Lopez becomes one of only a handful of Hispanic Americans to receive the Medal of Honor in World War II. In a military that often marginalized minority soldiers, his heroism can't be ignored. After the war, Lopez returns to Texas. Like many veterans, he struggles with what he experienced, but he also becomes a symbol, proof that courage doesn't depend on your last name or where your parents came from. His story gets taught at military academies, not just as an example of bravery, but as a lesson in tactical thinking. When you're outnumbered and outgunned, sometimes the answer isn't more firepower, it's more creativity. The illusion Lopez created, the phantom defensive line that existed only because he moved fast enough to man all three positions, becomes a textbook example of force multiplication. One soldier can be an army if he's smart enough, brave enough, and crazy enough to try. Jose Lopez proved it in the snow of Belgium. One man, one gun, 100 dead enemy soldiers, all because he refused to believe the math.